We have the red Dwarven player Avi versus the blue Man of the West player Sauron. I mean, the Man of the West faction has been struggling quite a lot in the beta we have been using, also throughout the WCS. I think it has legit the lowest win rate. The only legit and effective threat with the Man faction was the offensive barracks, which definitely cannot work against dwarves. So basically what you was able to see is an offensive barracks here and make another barracks here and just spam soldier and pikemen. But keep in mind that dwarves are able to win those big commitments with the rallying call and guardians being stronger and tankier compared to the soldiers, so it cannot work against dwarves. You have double farm into the barracks opening into the third farm. On the other side we see 2 mineshafts, 3 mineshafts for dwarves into the eventual Hall of the Warriors. Hallelujah, boys, let's do this. Let's do this. There's gonna be a eventual pikeman opening, maybe soldier. Keep in mind that the only and the obvious weakness of the Dwarven faction is the lack of movement speed. So they cannot really catch up to the target, and you can kite them 24/7. But that's the reason why dwarves are looking for a big commitment. They want to bring a mineshaft next to your base, and they want to force you to fight. Otherwise, they will take down every single structure from yours, which of course is the game-winning move. Rohan Spearman. And fourth works opening into the Hall of Warriors, okay? It's gonna be early battle wagon action. That's pretty nice. Battle wagons are very tricky units. They have like a crazy trample potential. They can also be microed quite nicely. They can kind of move back and forth, you know. So it's a single unit. Single unit you can always micro easier compared to a full battalion of knights or Rohirrim, for example. But the battle wagons are extremely vulnerable against pikemen. So if the pikeman touching you one time, you die. Easy creeping. Pikes are strong in this game. In the meantime, dwarves are building up the pikemen actually first, and of course a battle wagon. Battle wagons are not very good for harassment, so when you want to use them as a unit for dealing damage to the buildings, you need to give them the extra upgrade, and it still takes them a decent amount of time to actually destroy a full farm. But again, they are quite mobile. They are the only mobile unit dwarves can ever recruit, and they have the chase and catch potential too. That is the Goblin. He is only 200 health in this game, but in BFME2 he has like 10,000 health. Like, he's the tankiest thing in the universe, pretty much. Okay, phalanxes will be used to creep this warclear, so it's gonna be 1 for 1. And so far people are expanding. They are not really fighting, creeping, building more stuff. Double barracks now for man, and we will have guardians coming up next, and battle wagon to support them. So that's gonna make the first push from dwarves actually quite strong. Remember, it's like the easiest way of getting leadership with the Dwarven faction, and when you have the double buff available at your first push, it might be quite tough and difficult for the man to defend, especially without archers. Like, your soldiers, yeah, they are not weak, but guardians are just stronger, and they will win the skirmishes. There comes the first big push. Pikeman soldier from this region. The soldier will be trampled by this battle wagon, no problemo. And that's gonna be the counter push with 1 pikeman and 1 guardian. The mineshaft here is going to be destroyed. No rebuild, he picked the rallying call. And there are pikemen you need to avoid. There comes the oil barrel. Ooh, nice chunking, knocking them on the ground, making sure that they are taking damage over time. But they are still buffed, and they might still be able to destroy 1 more mineshaft. This mineshaft is the most important mineshaft for dwarves. In the meantime, man is able to kind of contest the push in the middle of the map. Remember, the pikemen are very vulnerable against swordmen, and even though the guardians are stronger, oh, but there comes the rallying call. No leadership yet, but he's going for the banner upgrade. It's going to be double buffed army, and you will see quality beats quantity. And he's going to cancel the statue here. And this army, I mean, is being outnumbered by this army, of course. But, you know, size doesn't mean everything. And he was also able to destroy this mineshaft. That's a great push, actually, from Sauron. He's getting some work done. And also expanding quite offensively, which is pretty nice. So it's gonna be 3 soldiers and 2 pikemen versus 1 guardian, 1 pikeman, 1 and 2 battle wagons. One of them have the banner, and the other one might go eventually for the for the recovery. And you can heal up while fighting, which can make those guardians even more threatening and more dangerous. The enemy. Ooh, be careful, battle wagons! Nice micro from Avi, holy guacamole, beautiful micro. He actually killed so many of the swordmen, very well done. Very well done. After the first couple of minutes into the game, we have 450 command points available for Avi in the Dwarven faction. His opponent has the same command points available and almost the same power points too. I mean, there is a power point advantage for Avi, which is not a big deal. It's pretty even-ish. Yet another mineshaft has been destroyed, and you have the kite potential once again. You can destroy and run away. The Guardians can never catch up to you. But here this push, beautiful oil barrel one more time, spear throw, chunking the battle wagon to 50% HP from Eowyn. And the pikemen can one-shot Eowyn. Like mounted heroes, legit quite squishy against pikemen. If they turn and hit you a couple of times, like 2 hits, I'm pretty certain that you will die. Farm here is going to be destroyed. You can see the clump power and the commitment power with these 2 battle wagons is kind of immense. And even though they've been outnumbered pretty much from the beginning of the fight, they've still got to deal great amount of damage. Very well done. And also, in the meantime, the farms at the bottom side have been kind of discovered and destroyed. There are gonna be some offensive mineshafts, but Ave not really trying to build a mineshaft next to the enemy castle, which is the normal playstyle of dwarves we used to see in the past. So he's playing it kind of slow and wanna get easier to the mid to late game. And let's talk about the mid to late game potential with these 2 factions. I think Dwarven faction is just better eco when you go for the Dwarven riches. Man faction can still... Oh, nice one. Man faction can go for Elma too, for another spear throw in outlaw leadership, which can be quite rewarding. And I'm pretty certain that this is eventually one of the, if not the only matchup, in which Gandalf can do crazy stuff. Like I'm telling you, again, the weakness of dwarves is the lack of movement speed, which also is the weakness of Gandalf. And Gandalf can definitely catch up to those Guardians and blast them, you know? But again, it's a very expensive hero. And we have not reached the power point, I mean the power spike yet. Oh, nice. Beautiful, the build has been killed, that's huge. It's a very good move from Sauron, it's a back and forth game. 625 for dwarves and 550 for men. There are so many Guardians and the mineshaft here is still remaining, so he will be able to bring more and more reinforcements, including a battle wagon with the banner for leadership once again. Eowyn can't really do much besides spear throwing the battle wagon, chunking it decently, but it's not gonna be enough to one-shot it. And dwarves can still heal it. He has 10 power points in the bank, Rallying Call is available. So what we are looking for now at this point is a Hobbit special summon, including a Rallying Call on all of the army with the Hobbits. And then you have double leadership, not only on your Guardians and Phalanxes, but also on your Hobbitses, which can be quite difficult to defend. 8 power points in the bank for Sauron. He has only Eowyn, and no well, no statue, no leadership, no Theoden. It's gonna be quite difficult to defend against such a big push. Look at this, man. We have so many Guardians and Phalanxes upon the field. Who is going to face against this? What are you bringing to the table? Not much. Your soldiers gonna be melted by these Guardians. Trust me, that one. Not even a chance. Well, for the recovery. And, I mean, your best bet is to kill this battle wagon with the leadership, with your Eowyn. I think she's looking for this move. Smite is almost back up, and this might kill it. I mean, this will definitely kill it. Look, but be careful. Oh, she's gonna die. Oh, Rallying Call, nice. She was able to dodge. Like, I'm telling you, few hits and she's gonzo, you know, she's donezo. And what is man doing? He's going for a counter push. This can legit take down your fortress, man, trust me. Like, you can't underestimate their damage output. They can legit take down your fortress in a few seconds. Even rebuild won't save it. And he has nothing, and I mean literally nothing to defend. He's going for a base trade, but he's so slow, he will need more than a minute to reach the enemy castle. Eowyn dealing with those Guardians, trampling them non-stop. Oh, he missed the arrow volley on the targets. Ave is paying attention. Against people like Ave, it's hard to land those skill shots because he's paying constant attention to this. And dwarves went for heal, and he has still 10 power points on top of that. The barracks number 1 is getting destroyed. The barracks number 2 is the next target. And Eowyn was actually able to defend quite decently, but there are still some units which are kind of idle and chilling. They are not doing really too much, not really contributing to the fight, which is kind of odd. And the damage is kind of nuts, dude. What's up, Zirael? 525 command points for dwarves and 300 command points only for Sauron. He has lots of money in the bank, but he can't use the money because his command points kept. So he needs to build more farms. Hobbits will be summoned from Dwarven player Avi for defensive purposes. And they keep going, you know, like dwarves, they are not done yet. He has still a lot of these Guardians and Phalanxes around the enemy castle. Eowyn can't deal with all of that by herself. That's legit not possible. This mineshaft here might be destroyed. but it's not gonna change the insane amount of lead dwarves were able to build for themselves. 625 command points against 250. Remember and keep in mind that you start the game with 200 command points. It means there is only one single farm for man, and that's it. That's all he has to offer right now. I mean, again, we are talking about a snowball potential, which dwarves definitely have. And it's hard. Here's the banner on the fortress for cheaper heroes and leadership. Eowyn getting dismounted. But what can Eowyn do, dude? Without the mount ability, without being on horse, you have no splash, you have no trample damage. And you need to kill each guardian one by one without splash damage. It's hard to do this. And this might be the first victory for Avi, the world champion, versus the spring champion. She's gonna smite one. It's a single target by the way, so you can't kill more than one guy. Barracks is gonna be destroyed after getting one soldier out. And dwarves are coming even stronger from the bottom side of the map. Battle wagons are cruising to support these guardians in their mission to destroy the race of men. And what a great start for the world champion of 2022, boys. Avi is doing it. Eowyn, Eowyn, the shield maiden. Use disguise maybe. Maybe disguise can save you. It's the best ability in the game, I heard. He's gonna call it, and that's it, boys. The game numero uno, the victory goes to the Turkish player Avi Havi. It's gonna be Man of the West against Goblins. It's a good matchup for the Goblin player Avi Havi. Westworld is a big map, which, you know, the bigger the map is, the better it is for the Goblins. And again, the Man faction might struggle to keep map control against the Goblin faction, but we shall see. We have the blue Man of the West player Sauron versus the red Goblin player Avi Havi. In the game number 2, the score is 1-0 for the Turkish player in the best of 14. 7 of these games are going to be played in Rise of the Witch King, and the other 7 games will be played in BFME2. Because guess what? These two players are not only the best players of Rise of the Witch King, but also at the same time the best players of BFME2. So expect to see, I mean, I think that's going to be a great event in which we can see the difference between BFME2 and Rise of the Witch King in this high skill level of a gameplay in one single stream, you know? Earlier we have been doing similar things, but never 2 games in one stream. And having
Andy
this
and
compacted
like
into one, it's
and
kind of good.
Shank, how is life?
Life is good, my friend. Thanks for asking. All fine, Zunlo. What's up, my Zunho? What's up, my friend? If it's 4-3 and 3-4, they must play 2.22 best of 3. That sounds like an amazing plan. Amazing plan. I just came into ongoing madness through music, through my friends. I'm also glad to see you around. How was your Christmas time? Animali, what's up, my friend? Welcome to the stream. Okay, so we have Pikeman opening for the Man faction, and Goblin Keef into the second Goblin Keef opening for the Goblin faction. Remember, later on, we will definitely gotta see those half-troll swordmen. I think they are just too strong to not recruit them, including Spider Riders. Remember, in the beta we have been using now in the World Championship, the same also in this event. The Spider Riders got a couple of crazy buffs, so they should be definitely more impactful in this game. In the beta here, I believe the Gondor archers got buffed, but the Gondor rangers got kind of nerfed. Indirect nerf, because they made the archer range level 2 upgrade a bit more expensive. But again, this beta is gonna change quite a lot from the gameplay of BFME to the Rise of the Witch King, because the money should also kick in way faster. Creep action. That's gonna be the first offensive tunnel. The man player has no vision. He doesn't see this. This is like a fog of war.
We must join.
And that's gonna be the big push.
We must join with some. It would be wise, my friend.
Dude, I like this animation, the glow animation from the horde bonus. That looks kind of that looks crazy actually. That's gonna be a big push. The goblins are able to outrun the soldiers. It's a 2v1 situation, nice surrounding. With the poison blades, you can also deal increased damage, extra damage over time. And the farm will be committed on the stable a bit too late, and he might lose 2 farms from the 1 push. And that's a push and a half, boys. It's a push we like to see. He's demolishing this one, doesn't demolish this one. They're gonna get level to a whole level from destroying a single farm, and they will keep going. Remember, in this game, it's so much more rewarding to destroy enemy structures than it is to kill enemy army. And that's why those pushes, this commitments on the enemy structures, especially resource buildings at the beginning of the game, can actually make the game end quite fast, you know? There comes the first Gondor Knight. Again, trample them, no problemo. But you don't want to trample into too many of them, because there is like a slow deceleration. So when you trample into many of them, you get slowed down during the trample progress. and that will cause you to move in slow motion speed, and in addition to that you also take lots of damage in return, you know. He was able to destroy this tunnel, no problem, but he received way more damage than he dealt. Also, this farm here is gonna be destroyed, this tunnel. And goblins, I mean, the only good thing for goblins, for man at this point, is the fact that he was creeping the work layer. So he got some money out of that, which is extremely important. After all, swordmen will be recruited. Remember, they are immune to be trampled, so they are also not too horrible against Gondor Knights. And there was a time in Rise of the Witch King in which half-troll swordmen would win a 1v1 fight against a Gondor Knight. But I think they changed this since then, in which now the Knight should be able to win the 1v1 fight. Keeps pushing. He might be able to destroy this one, but the rallying call is off now. It means no more damage leadership. Goblins are creeping their first goblin work layer. And yeah, we might see more knights eventually, but in reality what you need is Elma. I think Elma can be quite rewarding. Here you have like the leadership, you know, to make your knight stronger. And then later on you have also the outlaw leadership. I think Elma, because of the fact that he can give you outlaw quite fast and easy, might be the most cost efficient hero who can give you the money back you invested into him in a few minutes, you know? Like every hero with pillage and leadership in one kit is kind of extremely powerful. And also Elma, definitely the most seen man hero in the game. He took so much damage out of that man actually. I don't even know if it's Dwarf or not, because he has no well yet. This knights will be kind of useless for the next couple of minutes. Aren't fire drakes worth the money they need? I mean, the problem is they are too expensive. The same concept also applies for expensive heroes. This game is all about spamming units. You see 2 goblin caves in fissure, and you pretty much spam non-stop. You make goblin, 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 half troll, half troll, half troll, and then you build resource buildings. And when the game really reaches to the point of 25 minutes plus, that's the time when you see something else. You know, when you have a lot of money that you can keep spamming, but you have still money to spare. That's the time you see heroes. But until this happens, in high skill gameplay between these two players, you will not see anything but spam. Maybe you will see a cheap hero like a Azog, for example, for the goblins, or Elma for the men, but the chances to see Drogoth or I don't know, like Gandalf, Aragorn, it's quite low, you know, because of their high price. Because you need to ask yourself, how many units can you recruit to justify that you are now investing 3k plus into a hero, you know?
They cannot stop the goblins!
They cannot stop the goblins. Okay, that's another creep for the goblin, for the work. And the one thing I need to say about Rise of the Witch King creeping is that creeping is too easy, man. Like, a goblin warrior shouldn't be able to creep a whole work layer by himself, you know? It should be a bit more challenging, I believe. Okay, that's a big push. Can the Gondor Knights deal with this though? It's a swordman against knights, but I think Gondor Knights got nerfed in this version. And they are kind of reworked a little bit. They are now cheaper, but they have now, I think, less damage, if I'm not mistaken. And cave beds making them also weaker, of course. Fissure, he doesn't even bother recruiting marauders. No, not a single one of them. I'm not a big fan of the marauders either. I think they are pretty much like the hill trolls from the Angmar faction. They are immune to be trampled, which means they have no revenge damage to offer, which is the main purpose of a pikeman in my opinion. But you can run through them. They don't deal damage to you. You don't deal damage to them though. Okay, I mean, goblins are everywhere, it feels like. 450 command points against 500. The command point gap is not that big. That's gonna be the first Lone Tower special summon from the Manflayer. It's gonna be used defensively. And he's saying WTF is his bug. What is happening with the bug? I don't see any bug. Okay, but he was able to defend this, it's good. The thing is, when you have this Lone Tower, you can get the full potential of this Lone Tower when you actually put some archers inside the tower, you know? Like rangers, ideally. Then you have like this crazy damage boost, which can be quite nice. He's saying can't kill, but you can't kill. This goblin behind. Maybe he's talking about this goblin. Yeah, looks like he's unkillable, this goblin. maybe he was not focusing, I don't know. Okay? And yeah, you see, it's pretty much spam non-stop, boys. You see Fissure still keeps going 400 for the half-troll swordman. Then you see more and more goblins being recruited non-stop. Lone Tower can be definitely good against goblins, because goblins have like a really low armor and they will get one-shotted from the tower itself without archers. But remember, the half-troll swordsmen, they are so tanky, they can definitely destroy your lone tower in a few seconds. Okay, beautiful. I mean, oh, but there comes a big push from both the sides. I mean, this one is going to be defended by the Gondor Knights. It's a 1v5 situation, and goblins are taking care of this, no problemo. There comes the Tainted Land, big commitment, boys. Remember, the Tainted Land will give you the same stats like the War Chant. In a spot like this, in which fighting is good and worth it, a Tainted Land can be definitely good. Remember, the man faction is nothing to cover your Tainted Land. So, men and dwarves are the two factions without land. They are landless, okay? They can't do anything about the Tainted Land or Elven Wood. The stable will be committed. Look at the damage from the Goblin Warriors. Not too bad, actually. They are dealing great amount of damage. It's a production building with 3000 health. And half trolls will deal even greater damage. The counter push, the Gondor Knights are trying to achieve something. But again, they've been nerfed. I mean, again, the Rise of the Witch King is like infantry's really what matters, I think, the most in this game. The cavalry doesn't really bring too much damage to the table because they are mobile, and what swordmen and, you know, pikemen can achieve, I think you can't achieve the same with the knights. Especially goblins can defend this quite easily. What you can do with the goblin faction is you can put one of these marauders inside the tunnel, and whenever there is a Gondor Knight coming to your tunnel, you can get them out and easily defend yourself, you know? It's like an easy way. The Lone Tower is going to be able to defend this level 2 farm. There comes Eomer finally. But he lost the stable. It means he has no more the chance to recruit Gondor Knights. He has the 2 battalions, that's all he got. And he needs to make sure to keep them alive throughout the entire game. A safe rebuild from the spellbook. He could go for it. Because this tower might be getting destroyed by this half-troll swordman. There comes the war chant. Maybe you want to go for the rebuild, man. Do it. Maybe not. Oh, don't lose the knight, please. It's a one single unit. Don't lose him. Okay. And he has no well either. And they're level 1 only. How can they respawn, you know? You can't. Oh, but losing the production buildings is so painful, you know? Because you lose a whole momentum. You lose like a minute and a half, which can be so big in this game. 500 command points versus 500. We have the power points. I mean, the Goblin player went for all the 5 power points. Now he's unlocking the Scavenger, which doesn't give you the combat strength, but it gives you like a scaling ability. The longer the game goes on, the more beneficial Scavenger can be. You pretty much get money for just killing enemy units, which basically would mean that goblins don't need to really invest too much time into tunnels. Remember, you can, when you play goblins, build those barrier expansions to increase your command points. So you don't really need the tunnels when you can prolong the game in a decent way of killing knights and swordmen non-stop, you know? And man player has in total 9 power points in the bank. He went for the heal and Rallying Call and Lone Tower, which will be summoned a second time very, very soon. But again, 0 archers, 0 ways to make the Lone Tower more stronger. Again, even basic Gondor archers could actually add so much more damage to the tower when you put them inside that. The tower itself is still dealing good amount of damage, but it's gonna just take too much time to kill a swordman, half-troll swordman. He might need to go for rebuild. I think it's worth to save this level almost 3 farm. It gives you too much value. He's gonna go for rebuild in the last possible second. But the damage is kinda crazy, my dude. What is this damage, man? They are melting it. Holy guacamole. They are melting it in a second and a half. Rebuild did nothing but buy additionally 5 seconds time. The well is gonna be destroyed right after this. And the fact that they can do this without any pikemen shows that knights are just not bringing enough value to the table. The creep here will be secured by the goblins too. Lone Tower almost available, 400 command points versus 750. Now there is a huge gap between in the command points department between these 2 players. And holy guacamole, guys, I don't know what to say. This game is looking once again amazing for Ave. Amazing. Now it's hard to decide if it's about the matchup or the map best fold, which kind of favoring the Goblin faction, or if it's about the skill level of Ave being just stronger at the moment compared to Sauron.
So much death! What can men do against such reckless hate?
I mean, I don't know, man. I think men has been always underwhelming There was a point in which they made the soldiers a bit stronger, but then you see only barracks. There comes the lone tower. It's gonna be pretty much around the fortress for a bit more damage output. Remember, the rebuild is on cooldown. Jade Panda, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. He's going for the banners, so it's gonna give leadership around the fortress. But you will see a lone tower is not that scary because half trolls can take it down in a few seconds. The knights, they need just too much time. Not being able to trample them and them being tanky in a melee fight makes the knight not very useful in this situation. Yeah, you can still trample the goblins, but the half trolls are just too powerful. Yes, Elma leadership now. I mean, outlaw leadership, that's pretty good. You can see the half troll marauder, one of them will solo this tower eventually. Is this shooting? No, he's gonna summon the spiders now from the spellbook. Spiders might be used to destroy the following production buildings like the barracks, the stable, the tower here is also badly damaged. Rebuild is still on a long cooldown. And the first hero from the Goblin faction is gonna be Azog. So Azog, very similar to Elma, gives you also pillage with level 2, but no leadership though. But you have like the great battle rage, you know? Like a hero who has the battle rage, pillage, and also leadership is Lourdes, which by the way definitely is the most cost efficient hero in every BFME game. The amount of stuff he's offering to you for the low price kind of makes him crazy strong. But I think Azog is strong in a one-on-one situation. Like, I believe the Great Battle Rage is better and stronger than the Carnage. Double well for faster production or healing speed, but it's gonna demolish everything and it's gonna be the game over, boys!